our muscle up practice. So we're gonna start wrapping things up. We'll give you a few more technique pieces, a few more strength pieces, some extra exercises, and a little bit more in your shoulder prehab, and we'll be done. Next week we'll get into doing muscle ups, some ideas behind how to get better at them, link them, do some tricks and style points with them, and just have some fun with all this hard work that you've been doing. So let's get started. This week's strength piece will be an EMOM, every minute on the minute for 9 minutes. We'll have 3 movements and we'll do each of those movements 3 times. Our 3 movements will be a candlestick pull-up, the Zotman curl, and a lying banded pull down. So let's go ahead and take a look at those movements. Now we're going to take a look at the candlestick pull-up. What you need to do is find yourself a spot on a pull-up bar. When you pull yourself up, you're going to bring your hips up as well, as close to the bar as you can, and then shoot your legs up to the ceiling in a candlestick-like position. And this is what it will look like. Our next movement on the EMOM is going to be the Zotman curl. For the Zotman curl, you're going to want a couple of dumbbells. You want to take the dumbbells and have them down at your sides, and you're going to bring the dumbbells up straight like this, and then you're going to rotate your wrists at the top of the curl, and then rotate your wrists back out, and on the eccentric movement, keep your palms out. Up, rotate, rotate back, and then down. Let's take a look at that from the side. So for the Zotman curl, you want to bring the dumbbells up straight, rotate your wrists in, rotate your wrists out, and then slowly lower the dumbbells back down to your sides. And that's the Zotman curl. And our final movement is the lying banded pull downs. So you'll need to get a couple of rings that you can put on a band and then hook to a bar. That way you can pull them down and create a little bit of resistance and build some strength and some technique. So this is what it will look like. You want to get down underneath of the bands and then lay down. And then you want to pull these down to your sides straight. Your arms are straight, and you're going to pull these down to your sides. If you can, get yourself into a false grip hold. So let's take a look at that from another angle. Put your hands on the rings in a false grip hold. Lower yourself down below the rings, and then pull with your arms straight down to your sides. That's it for our strength piece for week number 9. In summary, we'll do an EMOM every minute on the minute for 9 minutes. And we have 3 movements. The first movement is the candlestick pull-up. We're going to follow that with the Zotman curl and finish out with the lying banded pull-downs. Next, let's talk about our technique piece for this week. So we're getting a little bit closer to getting our muscle up and also improving linking our muscle ups and just feeling a little bit better about our technique, our form, and how well we can do them with efficiency. This week we're going to look at banded ring muscle ups. This will allow you to have the full feel of that movement from start to finish with a little bit of assistance. So let's take a look at our banded ring muscle ups. So what you'll need to do is put some bands on some rings, and you can add multiple bands at a time. And the nice thing about this technique is as you get stronger with the movement, you can take the bands down until you have less and less assistance until you've got your muscle up. The next thing we want to do is get our feet into the bands, and then we're going to do our swing and pop ourselves up into the ring dip, and then we'll punch out. So this is what it will look like. You'll want to try and do this practice a couple times a week until you feel comfortable with it. And then over time, take off the bands, do a couple more rounds with some more reps, and then take off another band and keep going until you feel like you can start getting into that muscle up without the bands altogether. What you want to watch for is you want to make sure that you keep your elbows tucked in. You don't want your elbows starting to flare out and putting your shoulders at risk. So be careful that you keep your elbows tucked in and you're pulling yourself up along your rib cage until you get into the dip and then punch out. One of the things that can be common, especially if you have a lot of bands on to help you, is that you'll just pop straight up into the muscle up. Don't forget that you want to pull into the dip first and then punch out so that it's very much mimicking what a muscle up is going to look like. Another alternative to working with this type of movement where you have a little bit of assistance to get yourself up into that muscle up is to have somebody spot you. So you can do your swing, you can come up into that muscle up, and you can have somebody just give you a little bit of a lift on the bottom of your foot, on the bottom of your behind, and help you get up into that muscle up. You could also do the muscle up without the swing and just pull yourself up and get somebody to just lift a little bit on your heel of your foot to get you up through the part that's a little bit sticky. Next, let's take a look at our shoulder prehab. So what we'll do this week are shoulder wall slides, but we're actually going to do them on the floor. And for these wall slides, we'll do 3 rounds of 10 reps. Let's take a look at those. For our shoulder prehab, we're going to work with the 90-90 supine wall slides. So with this movement, you want to be able to find a spot on the floor. It helps to put something in between your knees to hold up your legs in the right position. Get your hips at a 90-degree angles and your knees at a 90-degree angle. And then lay your hands down at your sides in a bit of a W-like shape. And then you're going to slide your arms along the floor, reaching up overhead as far as you can. And then bring your arms back down. Try to avoid overarching your back. Keep your back as flat as you can. And very slowly slide your arms up overhead, reaching out and above your head as far as you can, and then come back to your starting position. Try to get in 3 or 4 times a week, 3 rounds of 10 reps. Now let's take a look at the work that we'll do on our extra days. Any days that you have a little extra time. Maybe on the weekends, maybe in the middle of the week, whatever works for you. So with our supplementary work, we're gonna do a couple of movements, and we'll do those movements as 45 seconds work, 15 seconds rest. The following movements are the ones that we'll include. We're going to do a back of the hand extension to work on our wrist flexibility and strength. Then we'll do a backward hands or rear facing hands seal walk. We'll follow that with Maltese push-ups. And then we'll finish out with tapping wall walks. So let's see what all of those movements are and how we're gonna put them together. Our first movement for our extra work is going to be the back of the hand extensions. To do the back of the hand extensions, position your hands on the ground upside down so your knuckles are on the floor. And then you want to position your weight by sitting forward or backward or up a little bit on your heels. And then from there, you want to raise the back of your hands up into a fist. And then back down. While you're doing this movement, try to think about rolling your hands on the ground. With this movement, we'll do 45 seconds of work and then we'll have 15 seconds of rest. Our next movement is backward hand seal walk. To do a seal walk, it's handy to have some furniture movers to put your feet on. These are a couple that you can just buy at a hardware store. There are some companies that make them for working out, and they come in a variety of shapes and sizes. You can just look around for them and grab a set. You can also just drag your feet without having them, but on rubbery floors, if that's the kind of gym you have, these are a lot handier than just dragging in your socks. What you want to do next is place the sliders somewhere on the floor. Stick your feet on those sliders, reverse your hands, and drag yourself across the gym. When you do this movement, make sure that you get your body into a nice straight plank. Avoid overarching your back or sticking your butt too far in the air. So get your body in a nice straight plank here, as opposed to having your butt too high in the air or your back swayed down. Nice and straight, tighten your butt, tighten your core, reverse your hands, and drag your body. Next, let's take a look at the Maltese push-up. With a normal push-up, you're going to position your hands out in front of you with your fingers facing forward. But with the Maltese push-up, we're going to take our hands, we're going to rotate them out a little bit. Also, when we do the Maltese push-up, we're going to lower ourselves down and then lean our shoulders forward as far as we can. This is what it will look like. To make this movement a little more difficult, bring your hands back a little bit further and then lean your body even more forward. This is going to bring your hands down at your hips when you lower yourself down. We'll do this again, 45 seconds work, 15 seconds rest. For our last movement, we're gonna do tapping wall walks. Let's get started. Tapping wall walks are simply a wall walk, and once you're up in your handstand, you're going to tap one side and then the other side. This is what it will look like. Start on the ground with your hands and belly and thighs touching the floor. Lift yourself up and then your feet on the wall and start walking up. Once you get to the top, tap one side and then the other. and then return to the floor. And then repeat. With this movement, it's important that you come down under control. I see a lot of people in the gym just flop to the ground. Coming down under control will help build strength as well as technique and coordination. If you need to make this movement harder, then add a vest, and you can also add more taps on each side when you're up in your handstand. And if you need to make it easier, then just don't do the taps. Do the wall walks just as they are. So again, we'll be doing 45 seconds of work and 15 seconds rest. That's it for week 9 of our muscle up practice. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And let's get geared up for our final week, week 10, coming up next. I hope that this video has been helpful and that you've got a lot out of it to help you get your muscle ups or improve your muscle ups. It's been a lot of fun to make them, and I'm looking forward to our final week next week. See you then.